I should be switched over now. I didn't check my mic, but it looks like my mic is working okay, although I did completely forget to figure out music, so we're not literally sitting in silence this whole time. But yeah, I figured I would start off the stream with this, because I went to my first furry convention last weekend, or, this past weekend, literally. Like, went yesterday. Oh, Obsidian. Yeah. I know, what is it, Pure Ref that you usually use? I was too lazy slash time constrained to feel like figuring that out, so I was like, fuck it. I'll just use Obsidian. I knew how that works. What do we want to listen to? I think I technically started making a streaming playlist at some point, but I don't think it was very good. A spider, yeah, because everything in my life needs to be a flowchart. Also, hi Curve. Also, hi Kelif. Also, hi Poppin. Oh, hey Kiba. Well, welcome on in. Well, I don't know if you can see itty bitty face in the corner here, but that is somebody that I met at the con that I'll obviously get to the story of soon. There we go. And thank you for the follow. Okay. So yeah, first furry convention. Honestly, this basically... I got excited to go to it because I'm an idiot and somehow did not realize that there was a furry convention that was literally, like, less than 30 minutes from where I lived. I basically found out about it last year when I saw a lot of my friends were going to it, like some online friends and stuff, and I was like, oh, I didn't realize you were literally in arm's reach right now. It's unfortunate that I figured this out when I'm already, like, set up to work for the entire weekend and there's literally no way that I can get there. Greetings from the other con. Oh, that's so cute. That's so funny. I saw that they had, like, I think I have a picture of it in here somewhere. They had, like, a portal set up where, like, each con could see the other con. I didn't tune into it too much, but sometimes I saw people being goobers at it. That was really funny. Alright. And in me getting super lost about that, did I miss anything in chat? Oh, just the scrub ghoul. I do like the scrub ghoul. Let's see how friendly this is to zooming in. Please don't get destroyed. There we go. Basically just started with us getting here. So on the first day, me and... So, the entire weekend, I went with my partner, Whimsy. The first day, Landfill actually came with us, who, for people who are newer here, is one of my close, like, local friends that we, like, me and my partner hang out with a lot, and have both known since... I think I've known since either middle school or high school, and my partner has known even, like, well before then. And is pretty frequently in the chat, and even early into me streaming would even be on my streams a bunch, like voice chat style. We'd be playing a game and just chatting about whatever. So we all went together. I actually don't have too many... I didn't really get any pictures of him, so there's not really any pictures of him in here. But there are a couple of my partner, and plenty of me. So this was just kind of my, like, picture I took immediately, just to be like... to send to anybody that I knew was going to be there, like, hey, look, I'm here. And we actually did something that felt really, really big brain, which is that we went on the roof of the parking garage, where we, like, didn't have to struggle with parking at all. Like, as you can see, this is early in the day. I think the first 6 floors of this garage were completely filled up, and then we went to the roof and we were like, 1, we can park anywhere we want. 2, this view is absolutely beautiful. And it got even more beautiful as the day went on. So that felt cool. So at least for the first day we had a home base. The other 2 days, me and my partner either got help with rides or just Ubered there and back, because that was cheaper than getting a hotel for us, because we were close enough to the area. The official start of the con. Yeah, exactly. It was at least like... that's what kind of felt like, oh shit, this is like feeling kind of real. We drove up here, people are in fursuits, which is definitely something I got, like, never... like, obviously I've seen plenty of fursuits online. It's not like I was like, whoa, this is what they look like, but, I don't think I had been too close to too many of them, outside of, like, the rare fursuiter that would show up to an anime convention, because this is Boston. I'm close to Boston, so I did go to Anime Boston a decent amount growing up, which is mostly funny because I'm not really that big into anime. I think just the games I care about are a little bit more... Well, I don't even think that's the best way to put it. In part, the games I care about are more like Western games, but then on top of that, PAX is more of like a games are coming out industry con, whereas Anime Boston always felt like more of a fandom con. Because I have been to PAX before, and I actually didn't really like it nearly as much because of that. Meanwhile, Anime Boston was this like absolutely, you know, there'd be like, in the artist alley, there'd be a ton of art of games that I actually cared about way more. So yeah, I don't know. Went to Anime Boston a bunch growing up. But yeah, first FurryCon, because I finally realized we had one here. And then I flowcharted everything together a little bit. These are just kind of some basic pictures of, you know, getting into registration. They had this absolutely enormous screen. You can see some people for like kind of a point of reference on just how big the screen was, where it was just kind of looping a video the entire time. You know, they'd put up the schedule, they'd put up some other goofy stuff as it went on. And then, purely coincidentally, we happened to get there like almost the split second that the artist alley opened. So I was at least able to get like a good nice picture of these halls being a little bit more empty. Because it did not stay that way. As the day went on, it got very, very, very full, especially around like between like, I want to say like noon to 3. It was kind of hard to even walk around here with how many people were in here, which is awesome. It made like, just purely on like it made me feel really good for the artist in there. Like I'm hoping that everybody who is there made bank this weekend with how crazy it was. The view from parking structure is always great. Yeah, it made me feel like we like found a secret or something. Like, again, there was like almost nobody parked up here, and it just was like so cool. And it's not like it's like functionally any different. Like we just kind of like, you know, we took the same elevator down like 1 or 2 extra floors, whatever. Like, I heard the con grew a lot this year. We might be able to find hard numbers for that, actually. Let's see. I don't know if they post them already. Oh, they already have the theme up for next year, which is apparently Western. That's adorable. So 2024 was 4,400. Yeah, okay, they don't have the 2025 numbers yet. Ah, that's gonna be cute. Fuck. Check out their Twitter account. Noted. Twitter.com, which I will not put on the screen, but I will read off the number. I'm sure Twitter is a very normal place today. I love this song. I should play this game on stream sometimes. Pokemon trading card game is a vibe. Oh, wow, yep. Okay, so they went from 4,400 to almost 5,800. That is crazy. I wonder, like, because that was a new venue too, right? I wonder if they were like, they assumed that that'd be fine with the growth that they expected, and then somehow that was even a little packed. So hopefully next year they'll figure out an even better place. Or, wait, no, it still says it's at the Westin, so never mind. We'll see how that goes, I guess. Where was I? Oh yeah, now we got branching paths. This is just more pictures of like the vibe as a whole. Oh yeah, so there we go. This is what this place looked like once people were actually in here. And honestly, this is even lighter than it got later on. It got pretty into like probably twice as many people than even what's in here when it was at its max. These are just some pictures like around some different areas where I just use my powers of being 6'3" to hold my camera up high and try and capture the vibe as much as I could. Oh yeah, this was the, I can't zoom anymore. This here was the portal I was talking about, where you can see... I have golden belts still here, might even be able to see an area that they recognize from the seats. This was like, what was it, Further Confusion, I think was the other convention that was going on this year. Or like at the same time. So they just literally set up like a Discord call with a camera on one end and a camera on the other end, which is super cute. I love the idea. I do remember, like, again, I didn't interact with it myself, but I did see a lot of really adorable conversations happening between the two. Sometimes silly stuff, like people like propping stuff up and doing silly stuff. Other times it was like just genuine, like, yeah, how's your con going? And then, so I didn't do... Oh, hey! Well, you picked the perfect time to come in, Landfill. Let's see. Furcons have really been exploding in attendance this past year. It's honestly, I feel like it's been crazy basically since lockdowns and whatnot. Still, like, once events open back up and everything, I feel like everyone... Well, I from what I understand, kind of like from the outside and looking in, not really actually getting a good view on the numbers. I'm sure somebody's done some studies on it, but it was basically like COVID created a lot of furries, and then once events opened back up again, it was like, hell yeah, we can all go back and see each other. And also, all of these online new people that have literally never seen each other get to go out and see each other. It honestly makes some of like the enormous cons sound kind of like intimidating to go through, or to go to. Like, I can only imagine, like, I mean, I've heard stories of just how like back-to-back packed those kind of things are. Like the MFFs and there's at least one or two other like really, really big ones. FC was the other portal. Oh, okay. Silly music, yeah. This is literally, so I've talked about this like in the past, but I listen to my music in playlists of like vibes of when it's like nice to listen to them. So like on a snowy day, on like a nice summer day, on a rainy day, you know, going to the beach, like that. Like I have a bunch of playlists like that. So to make it like to have an unprepared playlist, I just went into my like nice day playlist and just filtered it down to just Pokemon, because Pokemon stuff is cozy. VR chat during COVID also converted a bunch of people. Yeah, no, I kind of came in like right after that, I think, where like as somebody like, I think the first I started using VR and VR chat was, what was that, 2022 into 2023, I want to say, or is it? Yeah, no, that had to have been it. So that's about when I started with that stuff. But I think that was basically right after that initial explosion, where it sounds like most people like really started like hosting events and really getting into it a little before them. So even stuff like being able to find like avatar bases and stuff, it sounds like I came in at the perfect time for that stuff to be like a lot easier to find and put things together for myself. That's kind of nice. And it's wicked cool. Like, it's, you know, kind of a no-brainer that furries would be attracted to the thing that lets them be a furry animal online and control it like a puppet and make it feel like it's actually them. Oh, I just realized my audio is like doubled and stupid. Hopefully that didn't sound terrible the entire time. It was doing my PC audio and my music audio, so that might have sounded awful. Anyway, fixed. I really need to get... I've just recently finally split my audio between like different sources instead of just having it pull from my PC audio. And I have realized that it is more to maintain, and I should really set myself up on my Stream Deck with things that make it easier for me. So that was like the 5th time I've messed it up since. Gosh, VR is fun. Want to do it? Yeah, it really is. And I've been liking that I've been able to play around with it a bit more lately. You know what? Actually, since there's some new people here, where is it? Audio seemed to have sounded all right on this sound. Okay, good. I hope it did, because in the back of my head, I'm like, sweet, cool. Already made a mess out of this recap pod. Where did I put it? Yeah, that's a good one. Just some, for people who haven't seen my avatar yet, I've spent a bunch of time working on this with a base. That was, I don't know, that was a really fun little art project I did for a little while. It's not a Twitch stream of something that isn't at least a little bit scuffed. I know, right? That was definitely something I was a lot more nervous about when I started streaming. Like, oh god, make sure everything is perfect beforehand. Don't fuck a single thing up. And then it's like, every single stream I log into, there's usually something that goes wrong for like 5 to 10 minutes. What was I saying? Oh yeah, as far as this goes, I didn't really do too much with panels and whatnot this year. Definitely, if I end up going next year, which I'll certainly try to, I'll try to make a point to go to more of them. Because this was the one that we did go to, which I don't know how readable that is. I can't zoom in anymore. It was underrated furry films and animated media, which Landfill, who I was just talking about a second ago, who's now in chat, he, like, as a non-furry who, like, appreciates furry stuff from a distance, especially considering I am his friend, is 100% about things like obscure media, old media, hence the name. If anyone was ever curious why that was his name on twitch.television. But this was just kind of like a perfect panel that we knew we'd all find a lot of fun. And they, like, basically the theme of it was like, they literally started the panel like, hey, so what are your favorite furry movies? And like a lot of people listed off like, you know, Zootopia, Puss in Boots, you know, basically, you know, the bad guys, like a bunch of like newer stuff that got a lot of people into the fandom. And they were pretty much just like, and that's why I'm doing this panel, because you guys need to watch more furry films, whether it's like brand new ones that like from the past like couple decades that are just worth having more attention on them, or if they are much older ones where like basically nobody's really seen them or heard of them because they're like a foreign film from the 60s that, unless you're like a deep cut nerd for both old media and furry media, you've probably never seen before. So it was a fun excuse to just like see a bunch of random stuff like that. Did Fritz the Cat because it was the most recent one I watched and one I did essay on college. Yeah, no, the panel itself was for a younger audience. So they didn't specifically show that off, but they did at least like do like an honorable mentions where they were like, and yep, Fritz the Cat, not talking about it today for obvious reasons, but it is, if you want more furry culture, worth looking out. So that was a lot of fun. And I think that's why I kind of almost regret not going to more panels, because the one that I did go to was great, and I feel like I probably should have done more. Now things branch off way more. We'll start with an easy one. This was stuff I didn't personally really like go to, but I at least poked my head in for a bit. This was like the rave room that I think was just Friday night, or maybe they did multiple nights of it. I am not the type of person to usually do that stuff. I loved the vibe. I love how it all looked. But if for literally no other reason, I just get headaches and migraines so easily that like the music being at the volume it was, with the bass being at the volume it was, kind of scares me away from doing much stuff like that in general in like a personal setting. I'm sure if I like took it into account, maybe got like some earplugs and played it safe or whatever, I could make it work, but it's like kind of intense and has never really, you know, never really been the dancing type myself, so not that I can't get a little silly with it sometimes, but yeah, I at least did want to poke my head in though, because I had absolutely no doubts that it would look really cool and that there'd be a bunch of really cool suits dancing around. And I didn't get any pictures of the ones that had like black light glow effects on them and stuff, which was sick, but we do see what a protogen looks like right here, with their face glowing way more than usual in a dark room, and that looks sick. Whenever I go to the raves, I always wear ear protection, like slash plugs. Oh yeah, and I highly recommend people use them as well for the volumes they blast music. Yeah, there's definitely a line where it's like unsafe, like for your future hearing as well, which I understand why they do, but also, you know, tale as old as time, somebody being hard of hearing in like their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, because, you know, at least 90% because they either went to a bunch of events like this or they were just the type to put their headphones at super unsafe volumes. And for better or worse, my body seems to be pre-programmed to want to avoid that. So this, it was some kind of concert. I didn't know what the context for this was, but it was neat. At least, like, again, for the 2 seconds we poked our head in, they were singing a song, I believe in Japanese, and like it sounded great. Like, you know, it was fun to poke the head in for just a second, but like I said, I don't know if this was like a talent show or just a straight up concert. Either way, it was cool. Look at chat for a sec. Oh, this song's cute. I danced in there for a bit, seemed alright, but the music selection was admittedly meh. I appreciate that they had a variety of DJs of different genres, but not all of them for me. Yeah, that makes sense too. I feel like that is unironically something that would help me get into it, like if it was a rave of specifically a bunch of high energy music that I was familiar with. Which probably means me going to like a nerdier rave, which I know for a fact exist. Because I feel like a lot of the times whenever I poked my head into anywhere that was doing music, it was all very like, again, from an, as tends to happen with music that in a genre that you're not very familiar with, a lot of it kind of blended together for me. So, I don't know, still the vibe was great. I'm still glad that I poked my head in, like I said, and that people had fun. And then this, I think was the talent show? Again, literally just poked my head in. They didn't have like what the event was posted on the outside. So unless I like went into the guide and, you know, lined it up with exactly when I popped my head in, I'd have no real way to tell what was going on. But there was usually some kind of performance, something or other happening. Or this was, no, wait, this was something else. I think this was more of like a silly fursuity game room of some kind. I don't know, whatever it was. It was cute. There were a bunch of fursuiters here, so at the very least I felt like it was worth taking a picture for that. And that's fair, just like everyone likes different flavors of food, different colors. People are allowed to like different styles of music, and that's okay. Yeah, exactly. I've always been the type of person where I don't think that there's too many types of music that I outright like dislike or whatever. But I feel like there are occasionally types of, like, there are genres of music where I feel like I have like 1 or 2 songs in that genre, and I'm like, that is basically all I need. I don't think I need to dig that much deeper than that. First example that comes to mind is something like the old-timey country music that they use in the Fallout games. Or, you know, especially like Fallout New Vegas. Or even just like that old-timey type of music in general, where I'm like, I think I've got my fill with the songs that are in here. I'm sure there's a lot of other great songs out there, but I can get my fix with these. And I feel like some of like the high energy dance music is kind of like that for me as well. Although I guess, I don't know, sometimes that gets like a bit more stretched out just because it's something that's like a little bit more common in games, so I have some reasons to get more attached to it. I don't know, going on a bit of a tangent, but you kind of get what I mean. This is a couple pictures. We didn't get too many pictures of like suits, like directly like, you know, like, hey, can we take your picture with you? I wish I did more. I don't know why I didn't. I tried to get more like crowd shots and stuff to kind of make up for it. But these are a couple pictures of my partner with some suits that we thought looked great. These bee suits especially were like some of my favorites that were at the event too. So this, is this the last one that was over here before we get to other stuff? Yeah. Never get enough fursuit photos and I always cry after. I know, right? It's hard. I mean, it you know, I guess it kind of goes both ways. Where on one hand, it always feels like a somewhat socially weird thing to do, which is probably a trap I fell into more than once. But on the other hand, a lot of people are literally in their suits so people can get pictures with them. And I'm sure literally every single person we asked would be thrilled to have a picture taken with them. So I will definitely, I definitely have like a list of mental notes like that I'm like, the next time I go to a con, I should really make sure that I reach out to them more and just like poke people and be like, your suit's great. Let's get a fun picture together. Oh, excuse me. Want to make a fursuiter happy, take their photo, then post it online? Exactly. Yeah, okay, so these... Yeah, the Setsu fucking emotes, exactly. Oh, and you know Setsu as well, that's awesome. So, my con experience when it came to meeting people that I actually knew online at all was like a little funny, just because a lot of my like friends weren't really going to be there, like people that I like talk to regularly or anything like that. But it kind of turned into meeting like a variety of people that like were still in my life that I was like, oh, whoa, you're here. I definitely want to say hi and get a picture. With one of them being Setsu, which was awesome. So I have definitely talked to them a few times at the VR meetups. Not enough that we ever felt like we had too many like super friendly back and forths or anything like that, but enough that we like recognized each other. And when I was like, holy shit, it's you, I go to the meetups, like I was, we had a nice little conversation there for a bit. So that's nice. I know that's the kind of thing where I'm like, now the next time I go to one of the meetups, I'll definitely be more inclined to make a point to give Setsu a poke. And that was like, as far as like the VR realm goes, the only person that I really bumped into for the weekend. So that felt kind of surreal with how much I've gone to those the Friday VR meets over the past couple of years. And I think like a general funny story about that is that I think there were at least like 3 to 5 other black, white, and red wolf adjacent fursuits that I saw over the con, which like obviously isn't me calling out like anything with the design that's like generic or anything like that, but just it's a cool color combination. So of course a lot of people work it in. And I definitely every single time that I saw somebody with that color combination, I was like, I don't remember what Setsu's design looks like, but is that Setsu? And then it never was. And then I think this was actually like basically as I was leaving on Saturday, or just kind of like doing some like back and forth rounds of the front area, just because that was my best chance to bump into people. I was like, wait, shit, it's actually you this time. Hey, like, so that was wicked cool. This one on the left, I didn't get a picture with them, but I like out of the Discords I'm active in, because I'm only active in so many Discords. My friend Maple happened to be the Discord that I was the most active in, or that I tend to be the most active in, outside of, poking my head into my own. And, what's it called? I don't know, like, it's hard to stay in a bunch of Discords. So as things kind of whittled down with the chats that I knew that I was going to be active in, that's one that I've been really active in for the past couple of years. And as far as I could tell, as far as I knew, Maddie was the only person from that Discord that I saw was going to A&E. So I made sure to give them a poke and was like, so you're floating around all weekend, right? Let's try to say hi to each other. And yeah, Maddie had stickers to give out. So I didn't get a picture with Maddie. I forgot to ask, and like they weren't in like a suit or anything. So I had, and like most of the pictures that they were posting on social media like didn't have their head in it or whatever. So I kind of had a funny feeling that maybe they didn't want like at least a picture that I like shared around. So I didn't like push it or anything, but I did at least get the sticker from them, which is now on my corkboard in my room as just like a really nice con memory. Because I think that actually makes for, I guess, the second internet person I've seen in real life. Because the first one was actually somebody through streaming, which was very surreal for a different reason. Where that was because I've done like a decent amount of streaming BlazBlue, and that community is just kind of like so small and tight-knit and stuff. that when I went to one of the bigger Blaze Blue tournaments that came to the Boston area, you know, I was just playing there as I was, and somebody literally would just kind of like tap me on the shoulder while I was playing games with somebody. They were like, "Are you Derek?" Like, I think either they saw what I looked like, because I basically look like my Sona, or they saw, like, you know, the character I was playing with the right skin and everything, and they called me out, and I was like, "Oh, hell yeah. Wow, meeting a fan?" Not that that's the only way I thought about it. It was just a really cute, like, community moment. But that's somebody that I was a little less close to. So for this to be somebody that was actually in a circle of friends that even if I didn't talk to a whole bunch beforehand, like, still felt like somebody a bit closer than that, that was a really cool special moment. And something that was cool about this con in general, honestly. And hopefully there's more of that next year. It's always hard to say, because obviously people can only go to so many cons. But it'd be cool if I ended up seeing more people next year as well. And we definitely both had the same takeaway of, like, yeah, we should chat more, so. And then the last picture here is a bit of a weirder one as far as, like, you know, it's not streaming or VR related. It's not, you know, more recent Discord groups I'm in, but this is actually a friend of mine that I've known for a very long time now. His name is Riker. And I've actually known him for long enough that, like, if I remember how it panned out, it was basically like, I had known him for a few years before he got around to getting a little, like, a pre-made, or like a pre-made fursuit. That's not the word I'm looking for. But bought a fursuit of, like, you know, this German Shepherd character that he just liked a lot. And he kind of, like, took it and ran with it socially in a way that's, like, really cool. Like, I think he's, like, you know, upwards of 10K followers on Twitter, like, pretty popular in the fandom now in his own little space. Which is kind of like a, hell yeah, like, I knew him before he kind of, like, came out of his shell like that, so to speak. And I hadn't talked to him, like, a ton in recent years, which I don't necessarily blame on him getting more popular. He's obviously been more busy. He's been way more active in the fandom and whatnot, since he kind of, like, went all in on that stuff. But, I mean, we still poke each other from time to time, at the very least. And I'm almost positive that he's, like, generally from the area as well. And this is just a con that he goes to every year. So I, like, 100% made sure to poke him, like, wait a sec. Oh my god, we're in the same place finally. It's been, like, close to a decade and we still haven't met each other. And I was actually a little worried because I think he went pretty phone quiet for basically the entire weekend. And, you know, I did a lot of walking back and forth to either, you know, bump into, to both see a bunch of fursuits in general and also to bump into people. And he was definitely somebody that I was keeping my eye out for more than most, as far as, like, if you're not going to look at your phone, I sure do hope I bump into you randomly. And I think this was actually Sunday morning. He was just kind of, like, hanging out in the lobby, hence the PJs. I think that was the vibe, was kind of like a, you know, silly fursuit get out of bed. Riker, good ship? Yeah. Man, small world. Everyone knows each other. I love it. I think that was the extent of everybody that I personally knew on any level that I found there, but all three super special memories. Really glad that I finally got to, like, what was it popping earlier that said, we aren't a simulation, we are real, exactly. That's basically how it felt. It was like, holy shit. Like, obviously I'm not, I don't necessarily think of them in, like, totally different headspaces where I'm like, you're, like, a different kind of person because I only know you online, but it does not make it any less surreal to actually physically see them in person as a real person. Especially because I don't do, like, a lot of traveling. I obviously haven't gone to many cons since this was my first one, so I didn't really get the experience to do a heck of a lot of that. The furry fandom is both massive and small at the same time. Yeah, it definitely feels like it's just big enough where, like, or it's just small enough where there's a lot of circles that, like, end up mixing into each other in a way that's really wholesome and also makes for moments like that, where it's very easy for like all of you to know Setsu. Because you know, I was like, while I was kind of getting things together, I noticed that like you keep it to a decent amount of streaming and stuff. So it's kind of like, oh, are we all in kind of like streaming circles together or VR circles together or whatever? Either way, super cool. We all happen to bump into each other. Where is... Do I go silly stuff next or do I go gaming stuff next? I'll save the silly stuff for last, because there's some fun silly stuff. All the squares make a circle, I know. Just... I have no idea why I decided to structure things the way that I did. Oh, I didn't actually... Well, you know, I'll go into that later, because that's kind of like the... more of a wrap-up as it is. Spent a lot of my time in the game room, kind of like bouncing in and out of the game room as the con went on, just because it was a cozy place to be. Oh my god, didn't mean to do that into the mic. I obviously just... I don't know, I play a lot of games, play a lot of fighting games, figured there'd be a lot of cool people there that were into that sort of thing. What I did not expect was that a lot of my fighting game experience there was honestly probably the most wholesome it could have been, where people were specifically playing two kind of out of the way, more obscure fighting games nowadays that I really, really wanted to have more experience with. Basically how I explain it to everybody who I was playing with, which, if you can't see these very well, one of them is Guilty Gear Xrd, which is a game that I've wanted to play really bad, especially after playing a bunch of Strive, with it having so many different characters and functioning a bit differently. And the other was specifically Dead or Alive 4 of all games, which is just a fighting, probably the first fighting game that, like, outside of Smash, that I played really obsessively with friends. Oh, hey, Shepard, welcome on in. So it just kind of felt like a funny, like, wow, these are two games that have specifically been on my radar in the world of... more so in the past, like, decade or so, is when I've really, like, understood how to actually play fighting games. And especially more traditional fighters, like non-platform fighters. I really only learned on a deeper level in the past, like, 5 years or so. And I think kind of once you kind of get on a deeper level with all of those games, it kind of creates a funny moment where you're like, oh, all of those fighting games I played before, like a long time ago, more casually, where I like didn't really know what I was doing, are basically brand new games now that you can actually explore the depth of, because you have a better understanding of how to explore the depth of them. And again, Guilty Gear Xrd was on that list, as BlazBlue is one of like the main games that I play nowadays, and I've spent some time with Strive. And then Dead or Alive is more a sillier one, because I don't think there's ever been much of like an actual competitive scene for the series, which is a rabbit hole in and of itself. But again, it's a series that has a special place in my heart as being one that I probably spent like 2 or 3 summers straight playing with a handful of friends of mine, between Dead or Alive 4, and then eventually I also got, what was it, 3 Ultimate or whatever, the one for Xbox. According to a lot of Guilty Gear players, apparently Xrd is like one of the best Guilty Gear games. I believe it. I could see it feeling way more modern than the older games, while also not feeling as like different and strange and kind of like smoothed out in weird ways as Strive is. I could absolutely see it having kind of like the best of both worlds. Like, even just from like the little bit I played, I was like, oh, this is probably a more comfortable, like closer to BlazBlue, like the things that I like. That's how I feel about BlazBlue, is that it kind of strikes a good balance like that. And I'm sure, like, from a first impression, not getting very deep with it at all, I could see that maybe being the case for Xrd as well. These were more sillier moments in the game room. This was just kind of like, they had a bunch of consoles. It was like, there actually wasn't that many fighting game people there. It was a lot more like, there was like one of every console set up. If anything, it was more of a speedrunning vibe, like people just having fun, like speedrunning games and stuff. And yeah, I realized I had not played Mega Man X in a very long time. So I was just kind of like, you know what? Nobody's really around playing anything I want to jump into. I want to take a seat for a sec. They had, you can kind of see it here, the SNES Classic, I believe it's called. Or SNES Mini, whatever the heck they call it. And there were two reasons that I wanted to do it. One, it had probably been close to or more than a decade since I had played Mega Man X. So I was like, I should start a playthrough of it. Why the heck not? Maybe I'll even beat it by the time the con's over. I didn't. Here's my password so I can pick up later. And then the other reason I was curious was because I had a feeling that playing with the original SNES controller was going to be miserable. And I was kind of just curious how it would go. And I was correct. It was miserable. That controller is not made for hands for anybody above the age of 10. And I cannot believe that's how we sold video games for a very long time. And I'm glad we figured out ergonomics. But either way, it was a novelty experience that I'm glad that I played around with for a bit while I was in a space like that. Because I do not think I care enough to set up my old SNES again, because I need to get like some wires for it and stuff. Excuse me. I don't know why my nose is so runny right now. And then this is obviously not a video game, but it had a silly little story behind it. Where I think I was sitting at the PS4, I think it was like the first time Xrd was happening, because believe it or not, Xrd actually got opened up twice over the weekend with two completely different groups of people, and I was like, okay, I guess Xrd is the vibe, why not? After the first time, there were a couple people that were sitting next to me on a Wii that was on like this table that was right here, and they were having trouble syncing the controller. So I kind of leaned over and I was like, oh, I can help with that. I'm very familiar with messing around with the Wii. And after that, we just kind of chit-chatted a little bit. One of the people there was not a furry. It was like a furry and their non-furry friend. And we just kind of had a wholesome chat about, like, I think, if I remember correctly, they said that they were very curious to go to the con, both to join their friend and as somebody that, like, as furries kind of gone more mainstream in a positive light, they were just kind of like, yeah, I've literally never seen anything about furries that wasn't like everyone just seeming like this super wholesome, fun community. Like, you know, assuming that lewdness does not take it away from being a wholesome community. But no, it just, you know, just kind of the vibe of like everyone's clearly on the same page and like just has fun being silly goobers with each other. And they just kind of wanted to be immersed in that experience a little bit. And, you know, and I kind of even talked about a bit about like the VR stuff. Like, you know, there's conventions like this, and then there's VR, and then they're just kind of like, oh, yeah, I've kind of seen some stuff with VR chat, and, you know, kind of talked about more like the surface level silly stuff, like, you know, the videos of having a deep conversation with Kermit the Frog, that kind of thing that went viral, especially around when VR chat first started. But I was like, oh yeah, no, I mean, like the vibe you see here at this convention, this happens like every single day in VR chat. It's actually pretty cool. And I showed some pictures off from like when I went to the New Year's event and everything. Just kind of being like, yeah, look at this. It's kind of like here, except everyone's a 3D model. And then the reason that this is on the screen specifically is because the furry friend between the two, I guess does resin work on their own time. And literally just had like a little like, or this like big egg case thing that they had just a bunch of resin shapes. That I don't know if they made them like specifically for the con or if it was just like a bunch of like old ones that they didn't really have anything to do with, that they were just like testing out, learning resin or whatever. But either way, it was just like a bunch of like silly fun shapes. And was just like, you take whichever one you want. And I was like, aw, hell yeah. So I took the blue shell because I like it. I actually have it in my hand right now because I needed to take a picture of it. So this is a picture of my computer desk. But that was fun. The game room was a vibe. The game room was insane on the last day though. On Sunday, obviously there were less people at the con in general because it was Sunday and not a Friday or Saturday. And a lot of stuff closed pretty early. Which I figured meant that, like, you know, the con itself was a pretty low-key day on Sunday. I figured that the game room would be too. But I think it was the complete opposite, where there was a lot less stuff to do, and people just kind of wanted to chill and relax. So that meant chilling and relaxing in the game room, and it was like kind of packed on the last day, and I didn't end up doing much in it. But it was a lot of fun, and I'm glad that I ended up spending a good amount of time in there, because obviously, really silly, fun fighting game memories. This was a really cute conversation to have, and now I guess I'm gonna finish Mega Man X sometime. Or you can finish the game for me if you want. Mega Man X is for sure one of my favorite games from my childhood. I must have read it like a dozen times. That's awesome. I didn't get into the Mega Man series until like a bit later on. I think I met a friend in high school who was really obsessed with Mega Man, so it kind of inspired me to play the games a bit more. Somehow, and I don't remember which one came first. I want to say it was either Mega Man ZX, which I bought for the DS at the time, or Mega Man X8, which I definitely pirated because it was on PC, which is probably one of the only reasons that might have been one of the first ones that I played. I was like, I want to play one of the newest ones that's more modernized, so maybe it's more comfortable to get into. But either way, both of those games hold a special place in my heart, especially Mega Man ZX. And I have played all of them. Technically, I've not finished a couple of them. I didn't finish X6, and I basically, I want to say X7, I literally got to the final boss and was so annoyed by just how the game was that I gave up at the last second, and now I annoyingly can't say that I beat Mega Man X7, even though I basically did. So, oops, should have just followed through. You definitely played it on a total... Yeah, no, actually, I did buy the physical disc of Mega Man X8. That is what I said. Unironically, though, I actually did do that for Sonic Adventure growing up. I owned the PC port of Sonic Adventure, which I think I still have somewhere. I don't have the box anymore, but I do still have the poster that it came with and the discs themselves. See if I can... Oh, that's not it. I was trying to see if I could find the box art, or like a picture of the box of it. Oh well, that's just a silly tangent. But yeah, the fighting game tournaments. This was definitely a huge part of my weekend. The first one being the Rivals 2 tournament, which actually, shout out. So I've basically been I have a history with competitive Smash in general. I've basically been playing Rivals 2 since it came out on and off, and I've been really enjoying it. The first like real tournament that I did for that was when Poppin held a tournament pretty recently. Like the online tournament, where I met a bunch of cool people through that as well. Did okay in it, all things considered. It was just a 12-person bracket that was 2 pools of 6 that we did at first, where the pools were round robin. I did really well in my pool. I want to say I came second in my pool. And then immediately went 0-2 as soon as the actual top 8 bracket started. But that's okay. I still feel like I did pretty well that day. And it was like very shortly after I personally got the game. I think the game had already been out for like a few months, and I had like a whole week to practice it. But since then I have played a lot more, and I am going to shout out Galliffer for being... So they were one of the... Or they were like, it was like Poppin and then Galliffer were the people that were commentating on the tournament the entire time. Obviously Poppin being the one that ran it, and then Galliffer being on for commentary, but was notably they are also a player of the character that I play, Maple. And literally the night before we went to the first day of the con, I was like, hey, wait, are you around? We still haven't gotten the chance to play together, and I really want you to, like, I don't know, just do stuff to me. Like, I want us to both play the same character, and for you to do fancy stuff that hopefully sticks with me. Just because sometimes that can go a really long way when it comes to learning a character, is to just like see stuff in action. And also just getting the experience like right before the tournament. I think it actually helped a lot. I ended up doing pretty okay. I want to say I don't know if they maxed out at the 32 people that they like had as a cap for the bracket. I want to say it ended up being like 30 or 31. But either way, I ended up going 2-2. These were just kind of like the vibes of the bracket in general. I'm in like a local Smash friend group. And I was like, hey, I'm at the Biblically Accurate Rivals Tournament, aka the one where there's a bunch of furries. But I don't know, I took some fun pictures like this. And then these were actually the two people that knocked me out. This was, I thought it was Toasty. Is it just Toast? Well, anyway, but both the people who knocked me out had cute fursuits, so I wanted to make a point to take pictures with them. And both of them were super nice too. Like they both even though they beat me, they both complimented me a lot on how I was playing for somebody that, you know, they had obviously never heard of before, because I'm not really competing in the game a whole lot. But wanted to get a picture. This was the other person who I think actually came in second at the event. I unfortunately do not remember their tag. I'm sure actually I could probably look at the bracket and find it. So I remember the URL, challenge.com/Annie2025R2. Did I remember that? I did. Lucius, that was their name. And then this was just a funny picture where we had a good chat afterwards, because Toast here also plays Maple. And the matches we had were good. They were clearly better than I was, and, you know, again, in the realm of stealing tech from other people, I definitely learned a lot in those matches. But we just kind of had a funny moment where, you know, we took the first picture just normal style. The second one, we were like, let's do a Maple pose. What does Maple do? And we kind of just, neither of us could remember anything specific, and I was like, I think the taunt something like this. So we were like, sure, let's go with that. And thankfully I was right, so it doesn't look that stupid. And then, unfortunately, I do not have any pictures of this. And then this is where Kiba comes in. I just stole these pictures off of Blue Sky, because I didn't actually get any pictures of us together, or any real videos of specifically Street Fighter going on. But eventually they will be posting, like the people who ran the tournament will be posting like the top 3, because it was only a 7-person bracket. So even though I had barely played Street Fighter in the past, I don't know, like 3 to 6 months, I warmed up enough beforehand that I remembered all the things that I was supposed to do with my character, and it was a pretty low-key bracket, so did well enough that I made it to top 3. So they did take like a top 3 photo that I will be excited to share once they actually post it, but I don't know when they'll do that. And they also, for both Rivals and Street Fighter 6, they did record well, I think for Rivals they didn't record everything. They recorded a good amount of the matches. I think one of my matches is recorded in that. The match against oh my god, I literally just said the name and then I forgot it immediately. Lucius, there we go. My match against Lucius where I lost was the one that was on stream. They were clearly like insane at the game though. I'm pretty sure that I think they mentioned that they've been playing a ton since like Rivals 1, so. Did great, yeah, thank you. The bracket was a lot of fun. Like I keep thinking about it honestly, because when I think of how the convention went, I came into there like while they were initially setting up, like, hey, is there time to sign up for Rivals? And they were like, yeah, sign up on the sheet over there, and you can sign up for anything else too if you want. And I was like, I mean, I haven't played Street Fighter 6 in ages. And they were like, sign up, sign up. Like the people running it were just like, fuck it, yeah, sign up, why not? And I was like, sure, why not? And I mean, worst case, it's not like it cost any money if I decided to go up later and scratch out my name. It's whatever. Like, that's just the vibe. It's a con tournament. Plenty of people didn't show up to Rivals as well. So I figured if I figured out better plans for the day, whatever. And if I didn't, then I would just stick it out for the Street Fighter tournament. And I'm actually really glad that I did, because that ended up being a pretty huge highlight of, I don't actually know if me and you, Kiba, talked a ton before, like, any of the brackets started. But me and Eli actually, like, that's how I warmed up, was I played a ton with Eli beforehand. And he was a riot. I don't know. We just had a lot of fun playing with each other. It was kind of funny, too, because as we started playing together, because it had been so long since I had played, every single, like, there were, like, a series of, like, 5 games in a row where I was like, you can tell I'm remembering things, because every single match, I remember a new system mechanics that exists. Like, I was like, oh, wait, shit, Drive Rush, that's right. Like, probably things I should remember going back into a tournament for Street Fighter 6. But by the end of it, we'd played a ton of games, and I was like, at least generally speaking, felt like I was back to where I was when I stopped playing the game. Like, I remembered all my combos, I remembered how I was supposed to space myself, all the system mechanics, all that fun stuff. And then, on top of really wishing that I had the top 3 photo that I do not have, we had, because for Street Fighter, the tournament was small enough that they just streamed every single, well, I say streamed, they recorded every single match. They unfortunately did not have a stream, or I would have shared it around. And, I was in losers finals with Eli, and all of those matches were super fun. So I'm really excited to look back on the VOD of that. Wish I got to talk more with Eli. Cool dude. Yeah, I actually felt kind of bad because on Sunday, he was doing a lot more suiting and stuff. And I really, I mean, but one, I wanted to see the suit, but also I really wanted to get a picture with him. Just because obviously, you know, we became pretty fast friends just playing in that bracket and having a bunch of really good matches together. So I was like, hell yeah, I'd love to get a picture with you. And we were both looking for each other. Like, it is what it is. Once you're in the suit, it's so hard to check in your phone and stuff that it was hard to, like, coordinate, like, let's meet up here. And we just kind of, it sounds like we were both just kind of looking back and forth for each other. It is what it is, though. Sunday was a short day. I actually ended up leaving very early on Sunday, because once the game room closed, and once I did one more pass over the shops, I was like, I kind of just, like, did everything. So, short of literally just walking back and forth, specifically to get the picture with Eli, there kind of wasn't anything else I was doing. And again, my partner is here the entire time with me. So my partner is just kind of like, yeah, I'm pretty burnt out too. And I was like, yeah, I think I'm in a cave. But unfortunately, didn't get any follow-up pictures, hence why I'm using blue sky profile pictures instead of actual pictures. But it is what it is. Wait a sec, is that partially a Derek face reveal? It's true. I've technically shown off a picture of me at an event once before, which I think you were there for, if I remember correctly. But I just said, fuck it, I'm just gonna put a bunch of pictures of me in this. And I actually, when I get to showing off, like, all the stuff that I bought and whatnot, I have more zoom-ins of my face up there, although still with a mask on. You still, I guess, will not see my entire face, but that's okay. But yeah, again, all in all, super glad that I ended up doing the Street Fighter tournament. What is wrong with my nose right now? Try not to, like, sniffle all over the mic. Wish it would have been streamed as well, but excited to see the VOD. Yeah, I was a little disappointed in that. I'm wondering why they didn't. Maybe they just didn't really want to coordinate, like, the commentary or whatever. Which actually just kind of sucks. I'm hoping that they had mics set up. I'm not sure if they did. Because there was a lot of really cute, like, both crowd reactions and even reactions from the people running the event. Of just, like, little hype moments that people had, so... I don't know, I guess we'll find out the hard way, but hopefully those end up being, really fun VODs to look back on. No, I don't want cheap viewers. Get out of here. You know what? I'll do that before I do the silly stuff, because there is something that I literally have to end this recap on, which is at the end of the silly stuff. It's important, I promise. Rocking your Sona clothes is... So, I might have told this story before, but I'll definitely tell it again, because it's very topical here, while you're seeing a bunch of pictures of me in the clothes. It is actually kind of the other way around, where this color combination here, like the blue shirt, the tan pants and everything, I have been wearing this exact color combination for... I think at least 17 or 18 years straight now. Like, very intentionally, unless I am, like, wearing a uniform for work or something, or wearing a different shirt color for a bit. I have always made sure that my clothes were these exact colors. Like, obviously, clearly open to graphic tees. But I don't know. I think being a furry and loving the idea of kind of making like a character image for myself, even like outside of like literally having a fursona or anything, kind of came hand in hand for me, where I just really liked the idea of having like a cartoon wardrobe, basically, where like if you were to see this exact combination of clothes across the room, you'd be like, oh, there's Derek. Like, I just kind of love that idea so much that even as far back as when I was in like middle school, I just was like, I think I just want to start doing this now. And then that eventually morphed into my first Sona design, where it obviously had the clothing color as well. And then the only other distinct thing that my first Sona design had was that it had fingerless gloves, which I just kind of always liked the look and the feel of. And also I actually did a lot of biking when I was a teenager, so it kind of felt like I thought they looked cool, and also I used biking gloves for practical reasons, so I just kind of like made it as part of the design. So that's why with my current Sona design, the fur pattern kind of like turns into fingerless gloves in this way, because I didn't want to necessarily bring the fingerless gloves forward, but I did want them reflected in the design somehow. And I think it was actually my artist friend that was helping me with the ref sheet and like coming up with the design and everything that recommended it. And I was like, that is such a huge brain idea. 100% let's do that. Let's just make the glove into like a fur pattern on the design. So yeah, anyway, that's the history of the blue shirt and the tan pants. Where is my brain? 17 years, more or less the same combo. Yeah, so give me 1 second. I'm actually going to hide my screen for a second, mostly because I have to dig through some ancient folders for a meme. It was like a meme that was like shared around Facebook a while back. That was shared with me because people, like, it's a meme about wearing the same outfit over and over again. But it was shared with me and it always stuck with me, so I made sure to like save the picture so it's on my computer somewhere. There we go, found it. So, it's like this like started as a meme, and then eventually became the prophecy. Where's the button? There we go. When your whole outfit's so fresh that you have to wear it for 40 years. So now I at least have to commit to the 40 years. There's nothing I can do about it. I'm in for the long haul. Also, actually I forgot, since I'm kind of here anyway. These are the badges. And then the one for landfill as well. But no, I've always really liked the color combination in and of itself. I feel like, I mean, I guess if it wasn't obvious from like what I've always done with my stream overlay and everything, and the vibe of the things that I like and the music that I like and all that. Well, I won't say that I'm like a big nature head. Like, it's not like I'm like going hiking every 2 seconds or roughing it out in the woods or whatever. Like, I've always just had a soft spot for like taking walks, you know, in the woods, on the beach. Like I said, I did a lot of biking growing up. And a lot of that was literally just because I loved being outside when it was nice outside. Like, it was basically that deep. And again, it's what a lot of why I like to listen to like comfier music like this is like, you know, being outside on a summer day while listening to adorable Pokemon Town music. Like, nothing better than that, especially for my teenage self. But I mean, to this day, it's obviously something I still like a lot. And I don't know, the blue and the tan always kind of felt like a color combination like that you could kind of interpret in that way, like, you know, sky and earth, water and sea, like, again, not so like, you know, loud and over your head that it like is like the big statement that I'm trying to stay with it, but it also kind of evokes that feeling. And I think it also really works well with the you know, not too fancy squirrel design. And I think that's a lot of the reason why I went with like a natural fur color for my Sona as well. Is because I kind of wanted to also evoke that kind of like nature feeling through both picking a squirrel and also picking just a basic fur color for it. Anyway, didn't necessarily mean that to turn that into an entire ramble about me and my Sona, but I guess feels like a fitting time to talk about it. Blue is the best color. Yeah. Why do you say that? No, oh yeah. I'd have to double check with my partner what the artist was for, with my partner Whimsy, what the artist was for this piece, but it is a really cute piece. Where am I? Oh yeah, the stuff I bought. So, most importantly, behold, Derek now has a Squirreltail, which I don't think that this was meant to be. I think it was just supposed to be like a generic-ish canine tail, and obviously wasn't even meant to be held like upright. Like the fur, like the gravity of the fur goes this way, which means when it's upright, it all kind of like floofs all over the place in a way that I actually thought was cute, but it clearly was not designed to do that. But the color was perfect, like 100% perfect. You can see it in some of the pictures that I was showing a second ago. Oh, this program does not like zooming out. I thought it was more visible in one of these. I guess you can kind of see it here. It's a little brighter than my actual hair, but like, gets the point across. It fits. Sadly gonna run for now. Yeah, thank you so much for swinging by for a bit. I didn't want to feel like I was like, you know, hey, we just met. Also, I'm advertising my Twitch account to you. But it felt fitting to send you the link for this when I started because I wanted to, you know, the recap's fun. And I definitely plan to get a video together for this for later because there's a handful of people that I don't think will be here the entire time that I'm doing this recap that'll kind of want to see the whole thing. So whenever I get around to getting that together, I'll make sure to send that to you as well. It's a Squirreltail now, and that's what's important. Yeah, exactly. And like, I don't know, I looked at it for a long time and was like, I think I can just flip that upside down and make it work. And thankfully it totally did work. What I ended up having to do is the second, so I bought this on the first day. Take care. Yeah, take care. And yeah, no, I'd love to see you in the future. I do this every Monday for whatever that's worth. Usually I try to aim for like a 6-ish hour stream. Just kind of, it's kind of just like my day off, like a fun excuse to have some scheduled video game time. So but yeah, no, I don't know, I love how this tail looks a lot, and I'm glad that I was able to get it. So yeah, basically on the second day, I bought this on the first day. The second day of the con, before we went in, we actually took the some like public transit to get to a local craft store because we were like, how do we make this work? And the real answer was fishing line, but there was no way that I could get fishing line in time to like make it so it like really stayed up and was completely invisible. So we ended up settling on some like metal wire that got the job done, but didn't look amazing. And then on the third day, one of my roommates was like, "Oh, I have some like brown yarn." And I was like, "I think I'll at least do that because it's like basically the same exact color as the tail, so." Even if it's arguably more visible, it was kind of cuter. And then I think it is it visible in this one? It is visible in this picture. Literally just a collar that I definitely already owned for reasons. And I just had the latch on the back, so it was just the tail, a string to the back of the collar in the back, so it was holding it up that way. And it worked really well. This is kind of like one of the main, but this is most of it kind of like spread out into one thing. There was like no squirrel anything there. I tried so hard. I looked around everywhere I could to find squirrel stuff, and I just really couldn't. The only thing that I found, or I guess the only things that I found, one was this, like, oh my god, why is the word escaping me? Bandana, there we go. I found this bandana. I thought it was absolutely adorable. It's covered in the autumn leaves. It's covered in the acorns. Perfect. I'll roll with that. And it's technically made for a fursuit, so if you notice in any of the pictures of me, it is absolutely enormous on me, but I think that's kind of adorable for its own reasons. Why do I have both of these pictures? These are like the same picture, but I just laid it out differently. Oh well, too late. There was an almost absurd amount of Chow merch at this convention, and also just Sonic merch in general. Like, this felt like it, like, at least on the shopping side of things, practically felt like half Sonic convention for me, which I'm okay with. I like Sonic stuff. It was really cool finding a lot of random Sonic stuff while I was there. Just wasn't what I expected. There was somehow more representation for Chow there than there was for squirrels, but, you know, whatever. It led to me finding a lot of really cool stuff that I could buy. This tote bag was shockingly cheap, so I really, really wanted it, and I love it, and I will definitely find excuses to use it in the future. I actually meant to do this before stream. This, like, Hero Chow decal here. I want to put it on the front of my computer. It's meant for cars, obviously, but I don't have a car, so I would rather put it on my computer. And I've had a decal on the front of my computer for a while. It's been, like, peeling for most of the time that I've had it on there, so I don't know. I have a big soft spot for the Hero Chow design in particular. And I actually wish I could zoom into this more. Actually, you know what? I think I will cheat. This Dark Chow pin, well, I do love the Dark Chow design as well, so I wasn't upset to get it. They had a Hero Chow pin, and I didn't buy it on the spot that day, and then by the time I got back to the stand, they didn't have it anymore. So I just got the Dark Chow one instead. Oh my god, I forget the artist's name. This is an artist that I've followed on, like, I think even before I moved over to Blue Sky, I've been following. And they just have, like, a really cool, like, Y2K kind of aesthetic. And I didn't know that they were even going to be there. So when I got there and saw their art, I was like, oh, holy shit. I'm at least getting a sticker from you, if not maybe even a shirt. But then kind of the same thing happened with the shirt, where there was a shirt I kind of had my eyes on, and then I kind of waited too long on it. And by the time I went back, it was unfortunately already sold out. But I was a little less brokenhearted about that, I suppose. Like, I still like the idea of getting it, but even just having, like, a little bit of their art as, like, a sticker was super cool. This honestly might even go on my computer, too. It's just a really cool design. Oh, hey, welcome on in. Is it Tarble? Is that how you pronounce it? This, if you notice, is not a Sonic character or a Chow. This is a Kachik from Neopets. And I thought it was pretty cute. Like, Kachik is like the Neopet that I had growing up. So it was kind of like a you know, I was pretty interested in it anyway, because it was cute that there was Kachik merch there of all things, which, again, on the list of things that had way more representation than squirrels at that convention, there was a lot of Neopet stuff. It was kind of weird and cool, honestly. I wouldn't have expected that many people to, like, go all in on it. But... yeah, oh, okay, cool. I just wanted to make sure. On top of this being the color of Kachik that I personally had growing up, the blue one, it's actually a double-sided... where is it? It's actually a double-sided thing, where the other side is the cloud color, which is also very specifically the paintbrush that I used on my Neopet growing up, which for people who haven't done Neopets and don't have the context, it's like a virtual pet website, and it was very early in the game for it. It was like the really, really popular one from the early 2000s. And it's all web browser based, so like any like feeding to your pet that you do, it's all like, you know, everything's just a link on a page and you click it and then it feeds the pet like by refreshing the page. It's that kind of vibe. It's maybe a little hard to explain if you haven't messed around with it, but you still can. Neopets is still pretty popular to this day. And the paintbrushes were just a way to change your Neopet's color, which there were like all of the basic colors. And when you were first setting one up, you could just choose the basic colors. But then there were also like a ton of like special fun ones. Like, again, this one is like a cloud pattern. And that was one that I thought was really cool. There were like Halloween ones that would not just change the color, but even change the design up a bunch. Things like that. But yeah, I don't know. That felt like it was literally calling me out specifically, that it was the Neopet color I had and the paintbrush I used. And I was like, I guess I'll buy a keychain of specifically my childhood Kachik. Fine, you got me. Like, oh, this stuff over here is just like the con stuff. My badge. They had these for free, which I think are cool that have... Sounds like it's a somewhat more recent thing at cons. I say as somebody who, again, hasn't gone to any other cons before, where you have these like tags where you can be like, you know, what are you comfortable with? And you can get a whole bunch of them if you want, like, you know, comfortable with hugs, and then people can come up and hug you and not feel weird about it. And they at least had some basic ones for like feeling social, not feeling social, do not approach, like things like that, just so you could kind of signal, especially if you're in a fursuit where it's hard to see people or read people. Kind of makes for a good way to just signal where you're at. And I don't know, I just had that on the whole con. And then this is just a pocket guide, which, as a memento of the convention, I wanted to make sure I went away with a clean one. And then I already talked about this sticker, but I included that in that picture as well. This here is an electronic name tag, which seemed, again, haven't been to many cons. I assume they're just a thing that's getting more popular in general, because they're insanely cool. But they had people selling them, and I was like, I definitely want one. And here's a little video. What the fuck are you doing? Oh, there we go. This is what I set mine up to do. So it just goes, Derek. And then in the app, you can just straight up draw what you want. It's a little washed out in this video, unfortunately, but it's just a little acorn and a little Squirreltail LED. It's almost easier to see if I zoom out a little bit. So, as you can see in these pictures, I just straight up had that on the bandana the entire time. Oh, I'm dumb. I had another picture where I was a little closer to these. This was just cool. I don't know. I've barely ever seen anybody care about Sonic Unleashed as one of my favorite games. So when I saw that they had one artist had an extremely cool Sonic Werehog keychain, I was pretty instantly sold on it. It might have actually been the first thing that I bought. I think that like was one of the first stands I went to, and it pretty much immediately caught my attention. And then I think, last but not least, for at least the initial wave of stuff, this was one of the best stands I have ever seen at any convention. They were all about different scents. Like, obviously they were like had a ton of candles there. These were the 4 candles that I bought because they were doing kind of like buy 3, get 1 free. These were only $8 each. Or no, were they cheaper than that? No, I think these were $8 each for like little candles, which is very cheap for a small candle, especially a homemade one. But they had enormous ones, like bigger than Yankee candles, for as low as like $25, $30. Which again, for homemade and for the quality that they were, like all of their scents were really good, was unexpected and really awesome, and we definitely went back there more than once. But these were the 4 initial one I bought, that I got, because they had to have been at least like 5 or 6 dozen different scents between candles and other things that they were selling. And these ones just stuck out to me. Sour Patch Kits. That's basically just like a candy scented one. Otter Pond is very naturey, like kind of smells like leaves, like walking in the woods on a nice day, that kind of vibe. Campfire S'more is pretty self-explanatory. Maple Mousse basically just smelled like maple syrups and pancakes and all that fun stuff. And then they gave us a free soap for making a pretty big purchase the first time we were there. And then that segues into... I bought... So these are like fursuit sprays, basically. Furberries, haha. These are fursuit sprays, which, again, are something that... I don't know if they've been around for a really long time, but it seems like they're really popular right now. And just like they had a million smells for their candles, they also had a million different scent sprays. And immediately I was like, oh, I'm going to buy the Maple Mousse one. Like, no questions asked. Maple flavored stuff is like just kind of like a signature thing in my life. That I have like a big soft spot for maple flavored things. I've even literally been to the Vermont Maple Festival before, because me and my partner found out that it was a thing, and we were like, that sounds like a really adorable road trip. We should do that. So it, again, felt kind of like a no-brainer. And it was very, very cute to smell like maple syrup for the entire convention. And it also led to a lot of really fun moments, or funny moments, where like, I think my partner ran into it more than I did. Where, because we got like a handful of pictures where they were like hugging fursuiters and stuff. Where we would take the picture, and then the fursuiter would be like, am I crazy, or does it smell like pancakes in here? Like, does it smell like breakfast in here? What is that? And be like, no, that's just me, teehee. And one other funny moment I had with that was somebody like, specifically like I think we were just walking back and forth in the main area there, like the main lobby. And somebody was just talking with a friend that they were with, and they were like, yeah, I've been smelling these fursuit sprays everywhere. Like I was, you know, smelling like a strawberry thing earlier. Right now I smell like maple syrup or something. And I just like look over my shoulder and I'm like, that's me. I'm the maple syrup. And this was also only $8 and basically will last forever. So I absolutely ended up going back on the last day and getting one more. They had one that was, or I'll actually go to the picture of the last day stuff. Buried Alive was the last thing that or it was the other one that I ended up getting from them. So, well, I didn't smell like this during the con. I really loved the idea of getting one more scent to smell like, because I will probably use those like all the time. And then also I have the candle of this, so I was actually kind of joking with my partner too, where I was like, obviously in and of itself, I really adore this scent. But I think it will forever be like a convention trigger for me. Like if I ever light that candle, it's gonna like fuck me up thinking of going to oh my god, Anthro New England for the first time. But also, I guess I can adorably smell like this whenever I want, so that's kind of cool. Derek canonically smells like maple syrup. Confirmed. That was actually something I was joking about as well, where I was like talking with my partner last night, and I was like, I guess I now have an answer for whenever you see those posts that go around from time to time that are like, what does your fursona smell like? And it's like, well, mine is now maple syrup. If it wasn't before, it is now. They also had a watermelon one that I actually like super regret not buying, but Fuzzy Feelings is apparently their name. I'm actually curious if they have a website. I feel like I should bookmark that if they do. Candles. Oh, they're from Massachusetts. That's super cute. I'm gonna post their website here. So you should buy stuff from them, because they were actually really amazing. They were like one of my favorite stands at the convention for just how cheap and how awesome all of their stuff was. As a big sucker when it comes to things like scented candles. Yeah, and then I think last but not least here, this was kind of like the last day stuff. My partner bought me a couple pins. Going back to the blue and tan thing earlier, they found this like blue and tan swirl pin that I'm pretty sure they said does something cool. Like one of the colors is like black light responsive, so that's cool. This little sticker here, I don't know how well you can see that. Let me zoom in on that a little bit. The only squirrel anything that I found at the entire con, so I felt like obligated to get it. I mean, the entire sticker's really cute too, and this was another one from the same stand. And then somehow even more Hero Chow things, which is apparently a design that I'm getting very attached to as time goes on. Actually, like pretty recently, so I guess to go back to the whole blue shirt thing. A lot of the times what I'll do to get a bunch of graphic tees is I'll just like go on Redbubble and search up like a bunch of cool art. So like this, actually the shirt that I'm wearing in all these pictures, the squirrel shirt, is just like off of Redbubble because that's just an easy way to find cool shirts. And when I last did a big search, I actually got a Hero Chow shirt then. So I was like, oh wow, I really love the Hero Chow design. And now, if this convention did not cement the Hero Chow into being something that I'm, like, I guess obsessed with right now, then I don't know what will. All these stickers on top were actually just, like, random, like, stickers that people leave on tables. Because that's just a common thing to do at furry conventions, where people will just print out, or, you know, kind of like how I was talking about earlier, where my friend Maddie gave me, you know, literally had these stickers on standby so they could hand them out to friends that they met. This was, you know, people kind of doing that in their own way, but like, you know, anytime there was an open surface, like a table that had flyers all over it or whatever, people would also just throw their Sona stickers all over it, and I thought that was cute. I didn't really start taking them until like the last day though. I probably could have like twice as much as this or more if I started doing it sooner, but I at least grabbed a few that seemed cute that I found, like, once I actually realized it. Oh, I like messed that all up. Oh, there we go. Okay, we're fixed. But yeah, I don't know. I think I found a lot of really cool stuff. And again, tail being a huge highlight, it feels really good to have a tail. Oh, actually, as long as I'm plugging stores. I wish I knew all of these, like, artists and everything off the top of my head. I probably should have taken more notes on that. Another thing to keep in mind for next time. This place, I think, is actually the place that I bought the tail from. No, it's definitely the place that I bought the tail from. But these belts, which I just realized I'm not showing on the right monitor, these belts are, one, perfect for fursuit tails, if that's actually what you want to buy it for. But it's $10, and it is, like, bar none the best belt that I have ever used in my entire life. And this might just be how I buy belts from now on. Also, it comes in a bunch of fun colors, which is cool. But it's like the stretch belts where they don't have, like, normal holes. You just actually straight up, like, kind of just punch through anywhere. So it's very flexible with how tight it is. Very straightforward of a design, and also they're really good at holding up tails. I was even experimenting with it once I got home from the con, like trying to see if it worked well, even if I wasn't wearing like pants that had a belt loop, like if I was wearing pajama bottoms or something. They work really well with that too. So another thing that I can't help but plug, because this was like a very weirdly specific takeaway that I had from this convention, is that these belts are great and cheap. So I will probably just, like I said, that's probably just how I will buy belts from now on, I guess, is from the fursuit supplies. Alright, that is most things, except for, now we get into the silly stuff. This shirt is one of the first things that I saw at the convention. I think it's actually the same stand that sold the werehog thing. And I could not stop thinking about how funny this was the entire time. More importantly, my friend Ryan is somebody that is like kind of obsessed with Shadow as a character. Like always has been. It's like always been something we kind of bonded over as two people that are Sonic fans, with Shadow being his favorite character. Like anytime I see the character, anytime I see a good meme of the character, I'll always like send good art or funny things his way, which has been very easy this past year with Shadow being in the spotlight so much with like the whole year of Shadow and the game and the movie and everything. I have thankfully had a lot to send him this year. But when I saw this shirt at the convention, I was like, you are exactly the kind of person to wear this shirt. I will buy this for you right now. What is your size? And unfortunately, they did not have his size or anything bigger. So I could not buy the shirt for him. And again, I only wear blue shirts, so I wouldn't wear the shirt myself. But I had to like preserve the memory of it because I literally could not stop laughing when I thought of it as throughout the entire weekend. This was like, so sometimes people like, you know, people go to furry cons mostly to do like furry bits more than they are to like just like go in a fursuit or whatever. And these people were sitting here like in full on like dress suits and everything. And they had this set up, the Embassy of Philadelphia. And anytime you walked past them, they'd be like, excuse me, do you have your papers? And you'd be like, no, I do not have my papers, Embassy of Philadelphia. So then they'd be like, okay, well, I just need you to fill out this visitor's pass for the day. And they literally just had like a printed sheet of labels where they had you sign your name on it. And then they had you stick it somewhere so you could walk past them. Like, obviously it was a bit. They would have let you walk past if you really wanted. But it was really funny. So, of course, I went along with it. And also apparently developed a canon signature now, which was not what I was trying to do, but this came out extremely cute. And it even looks like an S, so I guess that's my furry signature. Well, sure, why not? I smell like maple syrup, and this is how I write my name. That's canon things about me that came from this con. And then this was a picture of my partner took with them. As soon as you go for a picture, they like go into like pose mode. I don't know. I know like another really common furry bit, which I think I saw people dressed up for, but I never saw it like in action. Was it's been like a common thing at recent furry cons for people to dress up as OSHA inspectors, with the bit being that they just go up to fursuiters and see if their fursuit is quote-unquote up to code, which is mostly just them making like, you know, funny straight-laced jokes about, you know, doing an inspection on a fursuit. But I love that stuff. I honestly wish I ran into more of it. There wasn't too much there, but I'm glad I got an experience like this because it was really funny. It's a good signature. I'm like weirdly proud of it. Again, I didn't mean for it to be like a thing, but it like totally worked. So, and of course now I have this, like, you know, on the back of the badge that I printed out. So I almost wish it was just a card. That's like the only thing that like sucks about it, is that I wish I could like, you know, take the card that was my Furrydelphia visitor's pass and like pin it to my corkboard or whatever. But either way, it was still really funny. This is a smaller silly thing. Like, this is a pretty common thing that you see at cons. I did not vet this for NSFW stuff, so hopefully there's nothing on here. But point being, it's pretty common to see these like walls of stickers. Sometimes people will even do it to things like utility poles and like light posts and things that are outside, which from what I understand, you're like super not supposed to do. It sometimes costs the conventions money because they have to pay to clean it up. But something like this is a lot more innocent, where this is just one of the con, like you can kind of see in the background. I think this is just like for the vendors hall or whatever, but it's like an actual like A&E banner sign thing that's just covered in stickers. So that's just kind of neat. And at first I was like, well, I obviously don't have a sticker to put on here. And then I was like, wait a second. So this, like, if you can see it like in the center here, this dog sticker, is, for those who don't know, let's see if I can just pull up a picture. Oh, perfect. 1 second. This is like kind of like a small meme in the BlazBlue community of the hype dog, because this dog is just in the background of this one stage, barking every few seconds. And when I went to the big like fighting game / BlazBlue tournament over last summer, which I think was like August or whatever, they had a table with a bunch of free stickers, and one of them was this, like just a sticker of the hype dog. So I think I have one of them, I want to say on my fighting game controller, like on the back of it. And I grabbed a couple more and just kind of like stuffed them into my wallet because they were really tiny. So when I saw like the wall of furry stickers, I was like, wait, I do have a sticker that does have an animal on it that hopefully at least somebody will get the reference for. That'd be kind of cool. Either way, it just kind of felt like a funny moment to be like, I'm glad that I had this in my wallet for like 6 months for some reason, and that it actually followed through. All right. And now it has essentially felt like the grand finale of the convention for me, because it was like Sunday and I wasn't there super long on Sunday. But originally I wasn't even sure if I wanted to go on Sunday, because I was like, there's probably not a ton that I really want to do there. Ubers are kind of expensive there and back. But eventually me and my partner just was like, yeah, fuck it, we should just go. It's the last day of a furry convention. Even if we're not there for super long, it'll be hype. And the day before, I noticed a flyer for something that was not held by the convention itself, but was just like a silly, you know, like just a group of people getting together for a little bit of time at the convention. Shadow the Hedgehog plushie meetup. Coffee beans will be provided. Shadow plushies only. All other plushies will be dunked in milk. So I was pretty motivated to go to that. I knew that there was no way that this was not going to be hilarious. Just like the Shadow shirt, I could not stop thinking about this picture the entire time. And apparently it's the 5th one, so it's not even like it's like a Shadows topical thing. Apparently they literally just do this every year at A&E, which is funny for its own reasons. Also, in case, you know, since it's probably a pretty specific, like, you have to be a Sonic nerd to know this. This is kind of one of those, like, random fun facts where, like, you know, what's the Sonic character's favorite food? And, like, you know, Sonic's obviously being chili dogs. Knuckles is, like, grapes for some reason, which they've been, like, leaning into a ton. Like, they, like, made a joke about it in the most recent Sonic movie and everything, where they're like, what's a random fun fact that we can reference in this movie? Oh, Knuckles liking grapes. And apparently coffee is Shadow's thing, which they actually make a reference to at one point in the Sonic X Shadow Generations, where you're like talking to Maria and she's like, oh, have you found any food that you liked? I feel like when we were on the Ark, you always just liked coffee. And it's like, okay, yeah, I guess Shadow likes coffee. So commitment to the bit. They decided to have coffee beans at the event, which unfortunately, which was honestly just, it added to how ridiculous the whole thing was. The person who brought the coffee beans accidentally bought ground coffee, which unfortunately I didn't get any pictures of that. But the vibes of the meetup were immaculate. We've got the nice cock Shadow display here. Here was the circle of everybody before we got together for pictures. This was a really funny moment because everyone was just sitting in this circle, like, laughing to each other that they were even here. And as soon as the Sonic fursuiter, whatever, walked up, everyone just started booing at him and, like, doing, like, a thumbs down. And then eventually he was like, you know, he started, like, waving. I think, I want to say that they were a silent suitor, and they just started, like, waving their hands back and forth, and then pulled out 2 Shadow plushes from behind their back, and then everyone started cheering instead. And then eventually everyone posed up for a picture, like once everyone was there. I don't know. This is just so fucking stupid and funny. Somebody brought a silver plush, and immediately everyone just started chanting milk, 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 because, you know, all non-shadow plushes get dunked in milk. I was slightly disappointed, though, that they did not follow through on the threat. There was no milk there. Which is fair. I mean, they're in a... they're in a pub... Oh, no, yeah, I didn't get the milk. They were in a public hotel lobby, and it's not like it was an event they were running, and they probably didn't want to, like, risk making a mess or anything. So, I get why they didn't, but it would have been really funny if they committed to the bit. I'm sure that that person brought their silver plush with all intentions of it getting soaked full of milk. So maybe they were disappointed too, but they did at least follow through on a bit and had one of the shadow... they posed him in the Family Guy death pose and then had one of the shadow plushes crush his skull. So that counts for something, I think. I guess I'll let this picture speak for itself. We got the Bible here. Surrounded by shadow plushes. And then this was like towards the end of it, where they just had the the Sonic Suitor do the Family Guy death pose, and then everybody threw their shadow plushes at him. Which I wish I got a video of. Unfortunately, I didn't, but I did at least get this hilarious, motion blurred picture of the plushes getting thrown. And this, I do actually, let me switch the audio sources around here. Last thing, or I got two different videos. One was just a funny one of everyone being hyped. Where am I? I don't know how loud this is. Perfect volume. This was basically the vibe the entire time. Like, anybody showed up with a new shadow thing and everyone was like, hey! So you can't hear it very well in this video. They are playing I Am All of Me in the background, Shadow's like ridiculous game theme song. But there are people playing music like to the right of here. I think after a little while they kind of like took the hint and kind of calmed down their music. But for that, it kind of like drowned it out. I thankfully did get another video of the song ending though. Because at this point they were all just kind of like sitting around posing for pictures and stuff. It's still pretty quiet, but you can hear it in this one. Super fucking silly. Oh, and that was just such a fucking funny way to end the convention. I knew it was going to be funny, and it was something that was like actually pretty heavily weighed into whether or not we went on Sunday. So I'm glad that I followed through. But yeah, I guess that was basically the entire thing. I'm actually gonna like Hail Mary last second, see if they happen to post the Street Fighter tournament stuff on Twitter, I think it was. No, they still haven't posted it. Ah, well, I'll share those pictures around when I get the chance. For context, for anybody that wasn't here earlier, I have a bunch of pictures. Whoa. Whoa. Of when I did the Rivals 2 tournament that they did. Because I just took a bunch of pictures and also got some fursuit pictures with people. But for the Street Fighter tournament, I didn't get any pictures, but because I got top 3, I was part of like a top 3 photo. But they have not posted them on social media yet, so all I've got is the picture of the 2 people that I made friends with through it, which, you know, that's obviously super fun for its own reasons. Ooh, but I think that is pretty much it. That was a lot of talking, but that was also super fun. I'm so glad that I went, and I'm really excited to try to go next year as well. Obviously, if I can somehow manage it, I'd love to try to get to other conventions, ones that are out of state, especially because, well, I think I said this in passing earlier, but personally, I have not done a lot of traveling in my time. Like, I think, like, I live in Massachusetts, and the furthest that I've ever traveled is Vermont. I've been to Vermont like once and New York like once, and that's like basically it. So the idea of traveling for a furry convention could be a lot of fun. But worst case scenario, at the very least, I'd love to be able to go to A&E again next year. Now with well equipped with more knowledge for how furry conventions work, and with my fingers crossed that more people that I know personally, especially like some of the closer friends that I've made over the years through streaming and being in servers and all that fun stuff, it would be super cool to get a chance to meet some friends and also just get closer to all the people I met this year. Oh, and I guess that's a better way to end this as any. So I suppose I'll play the music again, actually, just because I'm going to run to the bathroom one more time because I've been drinking water this entire time. And then I'll actually start playing a video game today. But I figured that was going to probably take a long time to go through, so I wanted to just... With the New Year's event and stuff, when I was recapping that, I mostly just kind of did that in passing while I was playing a game, because it was more or less pretty easy to describe. But I figured it was worth going all in on explaining this. And also, like I mentioned earlier, there's a couple people that I know would be interested in seeing all this, especially being my first con experience, but might have not been able to tune into this entire time. So I really wanted to have like a video to send to them. But yeah, with that, I will be right back. I'm gonna run to the bathroom, and then I will turn off my brain a little bit and play a relaxing puzzle game.